I know you've tried your best to make sense of things, to explain your thoughts, to help people understand the way you see the world. Yet no matter how much effort you put in, they just don't get it. They dismiss your silence, they misread your calmness, and they overlook the depth behind your words. What you carry is rare. Islam teaches that Allah has given the human mind extraordinary potential, but only a few truly unlock it. Today, we'll uncover 8 signs that reveal you may have a mind 99% of people simply cannot comprehend. Starting with the one that will make your life easier. Sign 1. You see the world through accountability. Most people float through life blaming others for their difficulties. If they fail, they blame their parents for not raising them better, teachers for being too harsh, bosses for being unfair, or society for not giving them chances. They see themselves as victims of forces outside their control. But a person with a higher mind doesn't think this way. You see the world through the lens of accountability. You understand that while circumstances may be unfair, your response is still your responsibility. The Qur'an tells us, "The one who purifies his soul succeeds, and the one who corrupts it fails." This verse reminds us that the ultimate success or failure is not measured by what happened to us, but by what we did with what happened. Take an example. Imagine losing your job. The average person might curse their boss, gossip about unfair treatment, and sink into bitterness. But someone with a rare mind asks, "What can I learn from this? Did I give my best effort? What skill can I improve? Could this setback be pushing me towards something greater?" This doesn't mean you ignore injustice. Islam commands us to stand against oppression, but accountability means starting with yourself first. You ask, did I fulfill my duty? Did I act with honesty? Did I put in the right effort? This mindset is liberating. Instead of feeling trapped by events, you see yourself as an active participant in shaping your destiny. Every failure becomes a teacher. Every mistake becomes an opportunity to grow. Success becomes a trust, not a reason for arrogance. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once told his companions, "The strong person is not the one who overcomes others in wrestling, but the one who overcomes himself in wrestling, who controls himself when angry." Notice how strength here is tied to accountability. It's not about overpowering others, but about taking responsibility for your own emotions. People may find you too serious or overly reflective, but in reality, accountability sets you free. You no longer waste energy blaming the world. You focus instead on what you can change, yourself. And once you begin living with accountability, you naturally change how you use your words. That's why the next sign of a rare mind is learning the power of silence. Sign 2. You value silence over noise. We live in an age where silence is rare. From the moment people wake up, they fill their lives with sound, music playing, TV running in the background, constant chatter, or endless notifications from their phones. For many, silence feels uncomfortable, even frightening, because it forces them to face their own thoughts. But if your mind is uncommon, you value silence. You understand that silence is not emptiness, it is clarity. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever believes in the Creator and the last day, let him speak good or remain silent." These words show us that silence is a choice of wisdom. It is better to remain silent than to speak harm, gossip, or meaningless noise. When you embrace silence, you begin to notice what others miss. You hear not only people's words, but also their pauses and hesitations. You sense emotions others overlook. You reflect before responding, which often makes your words carry more weight when you finally speak. Think about arguments. Most people rush to defend themselves, raising their voices in anger. But a person who values silence often chooses restraint. Imagine being insulted. Instead of firing back, you pause. That silence disarms the aggressor. It protects your dignity and prevents regrets. Silence also nurtures creativity and reflection. History shows that many breakthroughs, whether in science, art, or spirituality, came during moments of solitude. In Islamic tradition, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to retreat to the cave of Hira for reflection before revelation began. That silence prepared his heart for truth. Others may see your quietness as weakness or shyness, but in reality, silence is strength. It unsettles those who expect immediate reactions. It confuses those who mistake loudness for intelligence, and it sharpens your ability to think clearly while others drown in noise. This is why people with rare minds often speak less, but when they do, their words carry weight. They don't waste language. They don't gossip. They don't argue for the sake of ego. They know silence can sometimes say more than speech. And once you learn the discipline of silence, your mind becomes more sensitive to realities that others ignore. You begin to notice not only the visible world, but also the unseen dimensions. Sign 3. You're drawn to the unseen dimensions. Most people live as if reality is only what they can touch, see, or buy. For them, existence ends at the material, but a rare mind is naturally drawn to the unseen. You ask questions others avoid. Why am I here? What comes after death? What meaning lies in the stars, the oceans, the cycles of life? These are not random curiosities. They are the very questions the Qur'an calls us to reflect upon. The Qur'an repeatedly urges humans to look at creation, the heavens, the mountains, the rivers, the changing of day and night. These are not just natural processes, they are signs pointing beyond themselves. When you are drawn to the unseen, ordinary events take on deeper meaning. A sunrise is not just light, it is a reminder of resurrection after darkness. Rain is not just water, it is a symbol of mercy and renewal. Death is not just an end, it is a transition to eternity. This awareness doesn't make you disconnected from daily life. In fact, it makes life richer. Eating becomes gratitude. Work becomes service. Rest becomes trust. Others may call you too abstract or too spiritual. They may laugh when you talk about accountability after death, or when you pause to reflect on creation. But while they laugh, you see clarity. You understand that the visible world is temporary, but the unseen is forever. This awareness also humbles you. You know that your achievements are not just your effort, but also divine guidance. You know that struggles are not meaningless, but part of a larger plan. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said, "This world is a prison for the believer and a paradise for the disbeliever." Only a mind attuned to the unseen can understand this paradox, that comfort here is not the goal, but preparation for what comes after. And when your mind connects the seen and the unseen, you stop calling difficulties accidents. You begin to recognize the lessons hidden within them. Sign 4. You see lessons where others see accidents. Life is full of disruptions. Plans collapse, health fails, relationships break, opportunities disappear. To most people, these are pointless accidents, unfair interruptions in their pursuit of happiness. But if your mind is rare, you interpret them differently. You see lessons where others see only misfortune. Consider Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, thrown into prison. all of it looked like disaster. Yet, every step was preparing him for leadership, wisdom, and eventual honor. What seemed like tragedy was actually training. In your own life, the same perspective applies. A job rejection may feel painful, but it could redirect you toward a path that better suits your strengths. A delayed journey may frustrate you, but it could be protecting you from danger ahead. Even illness, while difficult, may teach patience and empathy in ways health never could. This perspective doesn't come easily. It requires patience, trust, and reflection. Most people crave instant explanations and quick solutions, but a higher mind accepts that wisdom sometimes reveals itself only after time. When others panic at obstacles, you remain steady. They wonder how you stay calm while plans collapse. The answer is that you don't see collapse. You see construction. You don't see punishment. You see preparation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Amazing is the affair of the believer, for everything is good for him. If he experiences good, he is grateful, and that is better for him. If he experiences harm, he is patient, and that is better for him." To most, this makes no sense, but to a rare mind, it is the secret to resilience. And once you train yourself to see wisdom in hardship, you start to notice wisdom even in the smallest daily actions. Sign 5. You seek depth in simple things. Most people live at the surface. They eat only for taste, work only for money, dress only for fashion, but a rare mind seeks depth in even the simplest details. Eating becomes gratitude. Each bite is a reminder of provision. Clothing becomes modesty and dignity, not just decoration. Money becomes a trust to be managed wisely, not a status symbol. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that even removing something harmful from the road is considered charity. What looks insignificant becomes meaningful when done with intention. This perspective transforms daily life. A simple smile becomes charity. A kind word becomes worship. Work becomes a form of service. Even rest becomes trust in the Creator's plan. Others may mock you for overthinking, but in truth, you are seeing what they overlook, that every action carries meaning. Think about charity. To some, it's just coins. To you, it's planting seeds for eternity. Think about friendship. To some, it's only social fun. To you, it's a sacred trust that shapes souls. This mindset makes life richer. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Every moment connects to your purpose. And when you learn to live with such depth, you also gain the courage to stand firm, even when others completely misunderstand you. Sign 6. You're comfortable being misunderstood. If your mind works differently, you will often be misunderstood. People may mock your seriousness, dismiss your reflections, or avoid your company because you don't always join in their distractions. But instead of chasing their approval, you learn to be comfortable with being misunderstood. This was the path of the prophets. Noah, peace be upon him, preached for centuries and was mocked by his people. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was rejected by his family for breaking idols. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was called a poet, a sorcerer, a madman. Yet he stood firm. Being misunderstood is not failure. It is proof you are walking a path few understand. For you, it means you no longer need validation. You act from conviction, not fear of rejection. You know that standing alone with truth is better than being surrounded by crowds and falsehood. This gives you freedom. Freedom from peer pressure, freedom from trends, freedom from the desperate chase for likes and approval. Others may laugh when you avoid gossip, or when you sacrifice luxuries for worship, or when you hold on to values they abandoned. But your peace comes from knowing that the Creator understands you, even if people don't. And once you stop needing the world's approval, you focus on what truly matters, living your knowledge, not just speaking it. Sign 7. You connect knowledge with action. Knowledge is everywhere today. People read books, watch lectures, and share quotes online. But for most, knowledge remains words only. A rare mind refuses to stop there. You connect knowledge with action. Islam teaches that knowledge without action is like a tree without fruit. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, warned against people who know much but live little. If your mind is rare, you constantly ask, how does this knowledge change me? Learning about patience means practicing it when wronged. Learning about honesty means refusing lies even when it costs you. Learning about generosity means giving even when it hurts. This is difficult. Talking is easy. Living your words is hard. But wisdom is proven in action, not debate. Others may not notice your quiet discipline. They may not see how you resist temptations or choose forgiveness over revenge. But in the unseen record, these small acts matter more than speeches. This is why uncommon minds seem rare. They don't just know what's right, they do it. And when you live your knowledge, your vision expands. You stop thinking only about yourself. You begin to plan for legacies that outlive you. Sign 8. You think beyond your lifetime. Most people plan only for tomorrow. They save for vacations, for retirement, for pleasures that vanish quickly. But a rare mind thinks beyond a lifetime. You plan with eternity in view. Islam teaches that when a person dies, all deeds end, except 3. Ongoing charity, knowledge that benefits others, and righteous children who pray for them. A higher mind lives with these legacies in focus. Building schools, digging wells, funding a mosque, writing beneficial knowledge, teaching others, raising children with values. These are not temporary achievements. They continue long after death. This mindset changes your daily decisions. You ask, will this matter in 50 years? Will this matter in the afterlife? That question filters your actions. Luxuries lose their shine. Eternity becomes your priority. Others may call you strange. They may wonder why you give money away instead of keeping it, why you sacrifice time to mentor others, or why you build for future generations instead of indulging in yourself. But you know the truth. Real success is not what you consume, but what you leave behind. You think beyond your lifetime, and that vision makes you timeless. And when a mind stretches beyond its own lifetime, it becomes clear that such a gift is not for pride, but for responsibility. Having a mind that 99% of people cannot understand is not about arrogance. It is about responsibility. It means the Creator has given you rare awareness, an intellect sharpened by reflection, discipline, and purpose. It means you carry a gift shaped by accountability, strengthened by silence, guided by awareness of the unseen, refined by lessons in hardship, enriched by depth in the simple, made resilient by misunderstanding, proven through action, and directed toward eternity. If you recognize some of these signs in yourself, be grateful, but also remember, it is not enough to simply know. The rare mind is not for pride. It is a trust that must be used for good. So ask yourself, am I living this gift with humility? Am I using it to serve others? Am I preparing for eternity with it? Your difference is not weakness. It is guidance. It is an invitation to live above the ordinary, to think beyond the surface, and to walk the path of wisdom that few choose. Which of these signs spoke to you most strongly? Share your thoughts in the comments and spread this video so others can reflect as well. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more rare minds who live with meaning.